Picture a $1,000 couch at checkout. Your card earns 2%, so the app flashes $20 in rewards. Now put that $20 on the table. If interest applies to a constant $1,000 average balance at an illustrative 24% APR, roughly 30 days of interest costs about $20. The reward did not become smaller. The financing cost caught it. My prediction is that the reward rate most people compare first is not the number that decides this purchase. Payment behavior decides it. By the end, you will have a 4-question gate that tells you when rewards math belongs in the decision and when it needs to leave. Before we calculate anything, the safety rule is simple. Rewards only make sense when you pay your statement balance in full and avoid interest. This is educational content, not financial advice. Always verify current card terms directly with the issuer before applying or relying on a benefit. The latest Federal Reserve release puts the measured rate for credit card accounts actually assessed interest above 20%. That is broad market context, not your rate. Your account may be higher, lower, promotional, variable, or calculated differently. The number that controls your real decision is on your own statement and agreement. Here is the first idea. Rewards and interest run on different clocks. A purchase reward is usually a one-time percentage of the transaction. Spend $1,000 at 2% and you earn $20. That part is easy to see, so it gets all the attention. Interest is a process. The CFPB says many card companies calculate it daily from an average daily balance. That means the cost can keep moving while the reward from the original purchase stays fixed. For a simplified estimate, take the average balance, multiply it by the APR, divide by 365, and multiply by the number of days. Our example uses a constant balance, no payments, no new charges, no fees, and a 365-day divisor. Your issuer may use a different method, so use the statement, not this video, for your real cost. On $1,000 at an illustrative 24% APR, the simple daily estimate is about 66 cents. 1 day is almost invisible. 10 days is about $6.58. Around 30 days is about $20. That is the entire tension of this episode. The reward arrives as a bright, finished number. Interest can arrive as a quiet daily meter. And the due date is not the only line that matters. A grace period is the time between the end of a billing cycle and the payment due date. If your card offers a grace period, you are not already carrying a balance, and you pay in full by the due date, you can generally avoid interest on purchases. That is the clean rewards path. You make a planned purchase, the statement closes, you pay the full statement balance by the due date, and the reward remains a benefit instead of becoming a discount on financing cost. But a grace period is not an extra month after the due date. If you lose it by not paying in full, interest may apply to the unpaid balance, and new purchases can begin accruing interest from the day you make them. Cash advances and other transaction types can follow different rules. Your agreement controls. This is why paying on time and paying in full are not the same decision. Paying the minimum can keep a payment from being late when it is received correctly and on time. It does not make the interest disappear. You can follow the minimum payment instruction exactly and still pay interest because part of the balance remains. Now let us run 3 purchase tests. Test 1 is the couch from the opening. Purchase, $1,000. Reward rate, 2%. Reward, $20. If the purchase is paid in full under a valid grace period, the simplified purchase interest cost is 0. The $20 reward stays $20. If a $1,000 average balance is instead exposed to our illustrative 24% APR, the daily estimate is about 66 cents. At that simplified pace, roughly 30 days of interest costs about $20. Same couch, same card, same reward. Completely different result. Test 2 is a month of groceries. Suppose $600 of grocery spending earns an illustrative 3%. That produces $18 in rewards. If you can pay the statement in full and your purchases receive a grace period, the reward can be useful. If $600 becomes a constant interest-bearing average balance at the same illustrative APR, the simple interest estimate is about $12 after 30 days and about $18 after roughly 46 days. The category bonus did not protect the purchase, it only gave the interest meter more time to catch the reward. Test 3 is a $2,500 car repair. At 2%, the reward is $50. Under the same simplified assumptions, 30 days of interest is about $49. This is where the emotional trap gets stronger. The repair may be necessary. The reward may feel like a small win inside a stressful week. But necessity does not change the formula. If the repair has to be financed, the financing decision deserves its own comparison. The points should not choose the payment method for you. Notice what these tests do not say. They do not say, never use a credit card. They do not say every balance costs 24%. They do not say a reward is fake. They say a reward is conditional value. It helps only after the payment system protects it. So here is the 4-question gate. Question 1. Could this purchase be covered when the statement is due without creating a new cash flow problem? If the honest answer is no, stop comparing reward rates. You now have a financing and affordability decision. A 2% card, a 5% category, or a pile of points does not solve that problem. Question 2. Does this account currently have a grace period for this type of purchase? Do not guess. Check the statement and agreement. If you are already carrying a balance, the treatment of new purchases may be different from what you remember. A card that used to be interest-free for purchases can behave differently after the grace period is lost. Question 3. What are the reward dollars, not just the reward percentage? Multiply the purchase by the rate. 2% of $1,000 is $20. 3% of $600 is $18. 5% sounds dramatic, but 5% of a $200 purchase is $10. Put the dollar reward beside the possible cost. Percentages create excitement. Dollars make the decision comparable. Question 4. What does your own statement say about the APR, average balance, and interest charged? Do not build the decision around an internet average when your real number is already available. Find the purchase APR, any separate APR for other balance types, the balance subject to interest, and the interest charge. If something is unclear, ask the issuer to explain how the charge was calculated. Those 4 questions create 2 lanes. Lane 1 is rewards mode. The purchase was planned, the statement can be paid in full, the grace period rules are understood, and the card has a useful role. Now it makes sense to compare 2% with 3%, cashback with points, or a simple card with a more complex setup. Lane 2 is balance mode. The account is revolving, or the purchase cannot be paid in full. Now the useful questions are cost, cash flow, and a realistic repayment path. Rewards optimization pauses because it is measuring dollars on the wrong side of the equation. That pause is not a punishment. It is a system rule. It prevents a visible reward from hiding a larger cost. If you use autopay, check what it is actually set to pay. Minimum payment, fixed amount, and statement balance are different settings. Confirm the funding account and due date too. Autopay is a tool, not proof that the full balance rule is working. Then look at the last statement that charged interest. Write down 4 numbers, the average balance, the applicable APR, the interest charge, and the rewards earned during the same period. Do not try to reverse engineer every penny if the issuer uses a more detailed daily method. The goal is to see the scale. If the interest line is larger than the rewards line, The statement has already answered the optimization question. You can also run a 60-second purchase check before checkout. First, write the purchase amount. Second, multiply it by the reward rate. Third, ask whether the statement can be paid in full. Fourth, confirm the grace period status if you are carrying any balance. That is enough to stop most reward-driven mistakes before they happen. Now return to the couch. The $20 reward was real, but it was never the first gate. The first gate was whether the balance would become interest-bearing. Once that happened, a daily cost began chasing a one-time benefit. That is the reveal. The best reward strategy is not a multiplier. It is keeping interest at zero on planned purchases under your actual account terms. Remember the 4 questions. Can you cover the statement? Does the purchase have a grace period? What is the reward in dollars? What does your statement say about the real cost? If the first answer is no, the rewards conversation stops. If all 4 answers are clear, then optimization can begin. Subscribe, because in the next lesson we use the same discipline on premium travel cards and test whether a large annual fee actually breaks even. Keep every card in one clear system with CardsNest. Scan the QR code to download.